Hey, welcome back to ComicBook Nation, the only show that does it all, and the official podcast of comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw, and happy Valentine's Day. It's a day of love. It's a day of celebration. And who better to do that with than my two co-hosts, Matthew Aguilar and Janelle Wheeler. What's up, guys?
Hello, hello. Happy Love Day.
Howdy.
I've been listening to a lot more podcasts lately, and I feel like we've been so muted, and we need like bigger intros. Like I feel like we need more like wrestling hype intros.
Oh my God, should we have songs made?
Oh no, we just need like we come in like yep, hey everybody. We need like a whole intro thing, like we are comic book. Oh, that is a song. I
like
guess
each one individually.
Yeah.
I can work on this.
Yeah,
we have an intro song.
Yeah, we've been too basic with it. We haven't come in and like done a whole show and personality. We need more cowbell in our show. You know. So today we are. I mean, I'm just kind of delirious. I was telling them right before we going on. My Valentine's Day is going down in flames. Yeah, I got a sick kid already coming home. It's looking like my fancy dinner plans. We were going to do a fancy dinner with the kids tonight. That's probably going down in flames. So shout out to everybody who have a disastrous Valentine's Day. All the lonely folks, shout out to y'all. Come down here. We're going to hang out together.
I have what your son has. And
you stick with it?
Yeah, I had to skip out on my Valentine's celebration yesterday.
Man, I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't want to get too gross into this, but yeah, Nashville's a gross place right now. My abdomen has been like my worst enemy for the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
I have a steel stomach, so I don't like get all like pukey and stuff. I just have to live with the feeling of like disease and just not feeling great. Yeah, it hasn't been. It's been a rough couple weeks. But I'm not going to lie to you. February is always rough. There was a February when my oldest daughter was a baby where she and my wife were sick at all 4 weeks of the month, and I had to take care of them. It was just like, it went from like pink eye to like strep to like stomach virus to like flu, I think was the last one.
Yeah,
and it was
it's
just
a Nashville thing.
No, this was up in Philly, so that was dirty
okay.
as well. Yeah, that was a Philly thing. So, but this place is nuts because Nashville's this like crazy bowl, and over it hangs. Hey, this fits. It's like the Gorge. This fits into our whole thing today. We live in the Gorge, and so like when there's like a toxic cloud, like everybody gets it, and it's just insane around here. Like your kids come home like time bombs every weekend. You're like, time to relax, and then you're like, oh my God, here we go. So, on that happy note, on that happy note, let's get into our show today. So provide us and the listeners with some much needed distraction. Stephen Prime, sorry you got to get back to work. Everybody in the comments, what's up? Yep.
More cowbell.
Up. So see, we got to get a little more Joe Budden-ish in here. Just start making noises and stuff. All right. So on today's show, we have obviously Captain America. Account? Oh no, I do not have a Finsta account. I am embarrassingly late to learning what a Finsta account is. I had to have a 19-year-old niece. My 19-year-old niece, shout out Lex, just had to tell me about this whole thing. So now I got different tiers of young people to keep me informed about like what's going on in different generational stages. But no, I hate social media. I think it's the cigarette of our time. So I have one account in a couple places, and like that's it. And they're not even getting me in the algos anymore. I don't trust them.
Cigarette of our time.
I've posted this. I say it over and over again. Social media is the cigarette of our time. Like we will, future generations can be like, I can't believe they did that all day, every day. Really?
Oh,
like, man, didn't they know they were getting soul cancer? And they were like, nah, not at the time. Like, we were happy. Every commercial was just like, anyway. So back to fantasy. I need to depart for like an hour here. So into fantasy world we go. Today we will obviously be talking about Captain America Brave New World, the big Marvel movie MCU continuation that's out now. We got to play a little bit of catch up. We only get to do this once a week, so we weren't here for the Super Bowl. Go Birds! Eagles! We won. I know nobody cares. I've heard all the people all week. I've just tuned out all you. Oh, the game was so boring. I didn't understand the halftime show. People. Y'all can go on an island and drown.
I've had to tune that out on my Facebook.
Yeah, you all can go on an island and drown together, okay? The city of Philadelphia,
that thing
will still be partying.
Times.
Yeah. Man, if you don't recognize an upstart team coming and whipping out a dynasty at a time when we need to see something like that, sorry. But the city of Philadelphia is feeling good. Shout out to everybody from Philly. Shout out to everybody who gave us love in this whole Super Bowl thing. That's my sports thing. We're done. We're going to talk about the movie trailers, and that's where we are going to begin today. So let's go through some of these Super Bowl trailers and get into what we saw. Janelle, would you like to take the first one?
Sure. Okay, so the first one is my favorite.
I was going to say the first and best.
I'm so grateful
really.
you let me take the first one. And I really did not need an extra trailer or teaser or anything to have already been sold on this, but we did get a spectacular new peek at the Thunderbolts. This was even better than I could have possibly imagined. This opening scene where we got context of what this is really going to be all about, like the Avengers are gone, like it kind of like gut punches you. And you then hear a line saying like, none of us have like superpowers, which to me was kind of the elephant in the room. When you have like an all-star team and no one is like supered. And they talked about both of those things. Like they're covering all of their bases. They're really like giving us context and like telling us what this world looks like right now. And I love that. They're not just like ignoring everything else. They're integrating it into the story. And I can't believe we got that from a trailer. It's really exciting. Everything about this just has me absolutely thrilled. But the biggest thing for me is just the chemistry between the actors. You can see it. It just reads loud and clear. So that's what really stood out for me beyond everything else, storyline and action and, dialogue and all that. It's just, I love seeing these people together, which what in the world I did not expect to. So what did you guys think about this one?
I mean, that's exactly, if you guys go back a couple pods, I was listening back when we were talking about Thunderbolts, and this is what I said about it. It was when we were doing Fantastic Four. When we talked about Fantastic Four, we were saying that the sell of that is really the chemistry between the actors and the family dynamic. And I said, in reference to that, I said, that's what gets me about Thunderbolts and what we kind of learned from Penguin and Agatha in the last year. It's like, it doesn't matter who the characters are, what ranking or level of popularity we're at. Like,
amen.
We're getting back to this idea that like, if you just have a good framework of a story and then that has character dynamics and then let the actors kind of act and play that out and play with each other and do that. Like that's the dynamic we need to see again. We're coming back from like the spectacle in the CGI armies and all of that. And like, just seeing characters go through something, develop, go together. Actual movies is like what we're getting back to. And this has that, like you said. And like I said, look, we all know the silent character's out. Taskmasters, we know that, but like the actual other actors that are there in live are going to get to do their thing, like you said, and there's actual dynamics to this and a story to this. Like these misfits who have done bad things are now in this position and how they feel. It's not just the challenge of the external Superman threat, but like this whole kind of internal thing about whether they feel like they are worthy enough to, step up to this. There's a story here. And it looks like it's going to be good. This was my favorite trailer by far. I think it's the best trailer Marvel's put out in years. Like years. The song choice. I mean, they're stealing a little bit of James Gunn flavor here, but like, whatever. We'll move past that. But like, this is a very well done trailer. And I'm not like, I don't even care. And this is no shade. I love new rock stars, but I'm like, I don't care about the new rock stars of this all, even though I did watch that video, full disclosure. It came up in my algos. I now work. I've evolved to the point where I can't work and like watch a movie anymore. I just like put on YouTube and like kind of like let it run through actual just talking shows and stuff like that and analysis shows. And so it came up and I just was like, they got me. They're good. Those new rock stars are good. They get you in 5 seconds and you're like, oh, okay, I'll watch this. But no, but I don't care so much about that as the acting and the ensemble. So this was my favorite trailer too.
Man, I will keep it short and sweet. I agree with both of you. This is fantastic. Also, I will say, love that we're getting more looks at Bob, good old Sentry Void action here, plenty of that stuff. I'm very excited for that because maybe they'll actually look. Sentry's not an easy character to get right. The comics have actually gotten him wrong plenty of times. They've gotten him right sometimes, but they've gotten him wrong plenty of times as well. So like it's a challenging character. I'm really excited within the framework of this story, how that's going to play out. And we get real looks at that there. And I also agree with what Janelle said of like, this and Cap are like, trying to set the table a bit, right? Of like, hey, post Avengers, post this, like this is the world. And I think this was smart of them coming out and addressing a lot of those things right off the bat. This looks great.
All right. So, Matt, you can take out what I know is secretly your favorite. And let me say before you cook, this to me, because I can keep this short and sweet, was the smartest marketing play of the whole Super Bowl.
Thank you. So I've seen, and we're talking about Lilo and Stitch, the live action adaptation, by the way. I have, and I've been in the comments on our site. By the way, if you haven't gone to comicbook.com recently, you'll see comments there. So please engage with that because that's been fun. I've been in a lot of the comments, leaving all kinds of things there. So I love to engage. This is one of the things where this marketing campaign, I think, has been brilliant. And this was like the best one so far of literally having your trailer spot be Stitch running out onto the football field, causing chaos. They're doing such a good job between this, the Lion King spot, the sand spot on the beach. Then they've also had even his big debut in the D23 presentation had him literally coming out of the screen and interacting with the fan. Like they're doing such a good job of highlighting Stitch as a character and just a complete mayhem causer. I think they're selling people on the, oh man, this is adorable. My daughter's all in on this. Ember like wants to see this day one. And there's a lot of people that are going to be the same way. And I just think the campaign, it gets your attention. It's not just another trailer. I think that's really smart.
I was hosting a Super Bowl party and this stopped everybody dead. Everybody was like, whoa, wait, what? Oh, and then when we all got it, we were like, oh, look at that. That's great. And like, yeah. Everybody was big grins on their face with this one. Like, yeah. So yeah. Disney's doing this thing. Yeah. You want to take the next one? It's up your alley as well.
Oh yeah. This one.
Sorry, Janelle. Janelle, did you have Leo?
Oh no, it was adorable. It was just so stinking cute. Just made me smile.
Yeah, it's great. And then keeping in the same frame. How did this one actually slip by me? I didn't realize this had aired during the Super Bowl.
This changed my this one freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie to you. This one I loved it, but like I feel like this was the milestone moment because I've been here since the Beowulf days, okay? The Robert Zemeckis CGI days where we all were writing articles about the Uncanny Valley and all that. I feel like this movie is the tipping point. Like, this is the one where I saw this, and for a moment, my eyes were like, huh? And I was like, oh, wait, those aren't real people. Like, those are animated people. And I was, like, unnerved a little bit. But, like, in a good way. I was like, wow, this AI is getting crazy. Like, we are... Like, I mean, just think about the jump from, like, you guys think I'm being funny, but, like, that Beowulf movie to this, to what we're seeing with How You Train Your Dragon now, it's insane how far we've come. Like, these look like... real people, but I shouldn't be surprised because half the Instagram people are not real people anymore. So I don't know why I am surprised about this.
Well, like the dragons, like Toothless alone. Okay, Toothless looks like he stepped out of the animated movie, and you're just applying like he looks like he exists.
Yeah.
It's
that frame right there. Like, we're looking at the frame of when they have the first touch, and it is. I remember being in the theater because I was working. This is when we were building Screen Rant, and DreamWorks was on its rise. And this was like the 3D, because this was the only other 3D movie besides Avatar that I think I showed respect to and was like, okay, that was worth being in 3D. And I remember this scene specifically, and like, this is just that scene lifted out and just made real. And it's crazy.
And distance. Okay, I'll say this. Here's the thing. He looks like what you think he looked like. I watched the original How to Train Your Dragon recently. He does not look that good. It does not look that real. He looks great. That animation style actually I think holds up because it's so stylized and it's kind of quirky and different. And in all those movies, but it's always those things of when we talk about remasters of games and people go, "Oh, it's not that big an upgrade," and then you do the side by side comparison filter and you go, "Oh, that looked like garbage," but in my brain, it looks like this. Yeah, they are different, right? I feel you. I understand. But yeah, I think this looks amazing. Some of the bigger set moments from the first movie. I really like this trilogy. And I'm excited. Like they really have seemed to, on the visual front anyway, nailed it. So I mean, look, the first movie also stands up as a movie and a story. So I think I think they're on the right track.
And it looks thrilling. Like those dragon fights with the big dragon and stuff. That stuff looks nuts. I was like, okay, I'm in. Janelle?
I don't understand why we just need another copycat of a movie I've already seen.
Have you not been to Hollywood in the 20th? Yes, have you not been to Hollywood in the 20th?
I'm tired of it. Like, I would love like a sequel or like, wait, how many of these have there been? I don't even know. That's just me. They just keep doing this, and I'm just kind of going, okay, like, am I going to watch it? Yes. Well, I like it. Yes, but it just seems so lazy.
But you just said you liked it and you'll watch it. So technically you're the problem.
I mean, well, I won't. I will only watch it because you guys forced me to for the podcast. Like, I'm not going to the theater.
No.
I'm not paying money to go see this. I've already seen it.
I know. But I promise in the years to come, you will watch this.
Right. But like, I'm not going to the theater. I'm not spending money to see a movie I've already seen.
But you as an adult right now do not need to go to the theater to see this movie that you've already seen. You are 100% correct. Yeah. Like, I'm going to have to go see this because my children are of age. And even though they know this movie, they're going to want to see it this way because the other one looks old and animated, like old to them, which is crazy, but it's true. And so they're going to want to see this version. So, and they're used to this. We have raised an entire generation now in this kind of culture of them knowing, like through Disney Plus, they can watch a Lion King this or a Lion King that and Aladdin this or Aladdin that, and they can do it either way and both ways if they like. But we're here. And I was holding up the number 3 for everybody watching because just always remember that is the number of Spider-Men we have gotten in the 21st century is 3 live action Spider-Men. This is how many times we're doing things over. Okay. So like, this is just where we are, but
it looks good.
Yeah. I mean, respect to you for standing on that line though. I folded a long time ago. So I like that you're still spirited up like that, we're this many years in. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely already in for about a hundo to go take the family to see this. I know this. So I just prepare now. It's crazy. But yeah, we have 3 Spider-Man, guys. 21st century. All right. I'm going to burn through these other ones because, I mean, they're all right, but we don't care as much. But we saw, I mean, the Puppy Bowl Superman crypto thing was cute on its own, but it wasn't like,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there was a puppy. There was like a little crypto Puppy Bowl kind of
cute
joke where they kind of replayed some of the footage from the Superman trailer, and then it cut to like a crypto feature. Okay. Yeah, but again, obviously, got in there. But like obviously, in the midst of what we're talking about, they didn't make a splash. Yeah,
no, not at all.
We needed them to compared to these other things. One thing that did make a good splash, I'll talk about, was the F1 trailer or teaser. That's how you do a teaser. Great job on that. Like,
if anybody's watching, did I see Jerry Halliwell in that? Holloway from the Spice Girls? I think she was in it, and she like ran up to the fence and was like, I feel like I'm the biggest F1 fan out of us 3. Maybe not, but I'm a huge F1 fan. And I think Jerry was in it, which is really great because if her husband was not Christian Horner, that would be great. If you know the drama, then you know the drama.
Oh,
you what?
Oh, I'm learning so much.
Well, Christian Horner is in charge of Red Bull, and they're like dominating right now. And there was some drama with Christian Horner, and it was really, really bad. And his wife is Jerry. This is real life stuff. Jerry from the Spice Girls, who I will always have massive loyalty to because the Spice Girls are my life. and I'm mad at him. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I like.
So who's the guy?
I'm sorry,
like
Christian Horner.
All right, I was trying.
I'm all about Toto. Okay, Toto's my man.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in this.
My favorite driver is Carlos Sainz. So if anybody wants to chat, let me know.
But it's crazy collection. We got Brad Pitt, Damson Idris from Snowfall, who's awesome actor. Carrie Condon, who's in like everything from Rome to Breaking Bad to the voice of Tony Stark's system. What's her name? I forget. After the second one after Jarvis that he made.
Oh my gosh! I don't know. I'm so sorry.
You guys are supposed to be MCU fans over here. Javier Bardem, Shea Wiggum. Like, this is a good cast. This is
I feel like they have actual like drivers
Faraday,
and people from the organization.
Oh,
in
we're
it
talking
too.
about MCU.
Friday. Yeah. All right. So
I got very lost in our discussion. So I had no idea what you were like, what you were referencing. I was like, okay, I don't know what we're talking about. Cause I was still on Spice Girls and F1. And so like
you gotta
I was like, huh? AI, what? I was very lost. Yeah. All right, we're good. Also, I will say credit to Janelle because I know for a fact, I can't say who's the biggest F1 fan, though I think it's likely Janelle. I will say I'm on the other end of the spectrum there as far as like I am the least interested in F1. Racing in general is kind of not my bag all the time, but like F1, it's just like something that I just don't know anything about, right? It's never really drawn me in. I will say you have managed to get me excited about this movie though.
Dude,
all of the other stuff.
Watch the Netflix series. It will change everything. Now, obviously, like it's supposed to be a reality show, but it's built up to be more drama. But like you will get to know these people and you'll have favorites. And it's weird. So this movie, it looks like it has Lewis Hamilton as a cast member. That's interesting. Maybe not.
No, they have a whole list of F1 drivers who are Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc. It's a whole list. There's like 20 of them. There's going to be actual F1 drivers all over this thing. Like
as long as they got Carlos Sainz in there, I'm cool, man. That's fine.
Yeah, they do. Carlos Sainz Jr. is in there.
Yes.
So Joseph, this is Joseph Kosinski, Tron, Legacy, Oblivion,
Pierre Gasly.
Like Kosinski has not really missed all that much. Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, so what was Spiderhead?
They shot the movie during practice. No. They shot the movie during practice sessions last year, says Zach in the chat. That's good because at least they got Carlos when he was with Ferrari, as he should be.
So, I mean, this was one hell of a teaser, and it looks like if you are not a fan of F1, you may be, this is all you need, right? Like a Hollywood movie to sell it. And then have a lot more F1 fans after this. So that was a surprise for me. Last two are Mission Impossible and Megan 2.0. Mission Impossible, we'd really seen before. And I saw when I had to go see Brave New World because they didn't show it here in Nashville, so I had to go to the theater. Mission Impossible trailers, I feel like you really only appreciate on the big screen, and it looks amazing on the big screen. So, I was in a Dolby theater, so it looks freaking amazing on the big screen. So we're there, but that's a theater thing.
Is this his last one for sure?
Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
You better just cameo in these. I don't want to see that's like geriatric abuse if we keep doing that.
I agree. So
we need to stop. Come on, man. Like, guys.
Wow. I agree.
Dang.
Our generation, like we in our parents' generation, we got to stop sometimes. Like at a certain point, we got to stop. Like we have to process time. It's been like 40 years. Like we got to stop, man. Like Tom Cruise, you got to stop jumping off stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh man, your knees. Come on, man. Like, this would be a good finish. Let's just don't do the Jordan thing. Finish strong. Like, let's just bow out.
Don't go to the
pass the reins. Yeah, pass the reins. I know what Tom Cruise says, but we also know Tom Cruise's ego. I just don't want to see you go out sad, man. All right. Anyway, this one looks like it'll be even more enjoyable than the last one. So I'm looking forward to that. And Megan just gave us, attitude. So. And an upgraded look at the character. So we'll see what that's about.
Her face looked terrible.
I don't know. I thought the whole thing was crazy. But the fact that this is so big enough to get a Super Bowl trailer this crazy.
Yeah.
weirdo horror film. Like, we're gonna see where this goes. So, all right. So that was the Super Bowl. Big as the Super Bowl.
It was fun.
I was about to ask about a halftime show, but I'm exhausted. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Marvel. Janelle, we got news to get through real quick.
There's a little tidbit that's been thrown out there. Spider-Man 4 is going to be filming or shooting this summer. It's been confirmed. Tom Holland announced it kind of technically through his charity. He has a charity called the Brothers Trust, and they announced a raffle with the grand prize being a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to meet your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in London on the set of Spider-Man 4, which is pretty epic. They're literally selling tickets. So by the way, if anybody wants to be a part of this, like they're selling tickets right now. I think it's February 14th. The 14th through the 23rd, and then they announce it on the 27th, and it's like, I think it's like $10 an entry or something. But yeah, so they announced that, and we're gonna kind of see. Clearly, they're leaving off, or they're picking up where they left off in London, and that's where they will be filming. So that's good to know. A lot of information came from this, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
It's a damn party over in London right now.
It really is. Yeah.
They filming everything over there, like Avengers movies, Spider-Man. Everybody's gearing up. I feel like they said that the story might be inspired by the comic Spider-Man 24/7 at the very end. Matt, I want to read this. Spider-Man 24/7, where Peter Parker decides to like stay in his costume around the clock because he doesn't want his face revealed. I want to read that. How was that? Was that a good comic?
From what I remember,
yeah,
I enjoyed it. It's been a minute since I've read them, so now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I should go back and read that one. But yeah, it's been a minute. But I remember enjoying. I tend to like a lot of the Spider-Man, like even if they're supremely weird, like Rain, like Spider-Man Rain. For anyone who reads, those and stuff, those are like bonkers sometimes. But like, I still enjoy them. I don't know what it is about a alternate, like a weird Spider-Man story that just kind of gets me. But yeah, it's also an interesting premise too. Like, it is a premise that you can easily weave into a movie. Like, that's like, it makes all the sense in the world, actually.
Mm-hmm.
To the comments, to Dom Clane 33 over on Twitch in the comments. Yes, Tom Holland will be filming Spider-Man 4, Avengers Doomsday, and Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey in the same proximity. And this is a perfect time to highlight to all young men out there. You think the job is done when you get engaged, but the job just begins when you get engaged. That's when you got to hit the ground running, kid. You're like, I did it. The ring's on the finger. I did it. And then it's like, time to start planning. And then you're like, overtime. See? And, Tom Holland's just one of us. So
isn't there an Uncharted sequel coming too?
He better hope not right now. These movies.
Didn't he say that he wanted to like stop acting?
Yeah, he wanted to chill for a little bit, but then he got engaged.
Yeah, he did say that. I think he did say that. Oh yeah. Yeah, no.
We all say that. And then we get engaged. And then you're like, overtime. Like, time for that overtime. So Tom Holland's just one of us. We also got on the DC side something.
Yes, so Batman. We're hearing a little bit about Batman. We got a red carpet kind of just throwaway line from Robert Pattinson about when they're going to start filming Batman Part 2. And he said at the end of the year, and he just kind of like moved on. He said it's cool though. And like, you know what? I believe him at the end of the year.
Yeah, he's talking about the script. He was saying the script is cool. He was trying to give reassurance in his
like I think that, there's been a lot of delays in this project in general. And I think that's like really frustrating for fans who really, really, really loved Matt Reeves' Batman. Can
we put a pin in something and just have a quick grenade discussion? Because Briarwood brought it up.
Boy.
Absolutely.
Because we talked about it. And I know other podcasts and talk about it. But I think we were some of the first to kind of bring it up about, and I've written articles about it, so they're out there. I haven't believed for a second that this Batman 2 delay has anything to do with like Matt Reeves or what he's doing or anything. I think there's been a war inside Warner Brothers in DC that we're just not seeing. about Batman and about what to do. And I don't think like James Gunn and Matt Reeves are on as much of the same team as they think, and you can track it back because the message was like Reeves has said he had a script ready for a while. Then James Gunn came out and said, we're not doing anything in DC until we have a script in a place where I feel like it's a good place. Then we started hearing, oh, we're still working on that Batman script, blah, 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 you know, all this other stuff. Penguin's a success. Oh, now we're still working on it. I think they've been fighting it out behind the scenes about like what to do about all this and like I don't think James Gunn in his heart of hearts really believes all this Elseworlds toe the line crap that they talk. Like, I don't think he believes there could be two competing Batman franchises, like alternating years and that everybody's going to be in on this. I think he wants the chance to launch his universe. And I think he's been making the case that like, look, I know you're a success. I'm not trying to do this, but like, I want to launch this universe. Batman's a big linchpin of that universe. Like, and we need one Batman for people to focus on as we try to get this all up and running. It's all speculation. I don't know any of this. I don't know any of that to be true, but I just read the tea leaves of media and little pieces of information as I have for over a decade and a half. And that's what it looks like to me, that there's been at least a healthy debate about what to do with Batman and how many Batman can we sustain and all of that. So, yeah, I'm interested about what happens at the end of the year and what announcements we get along the way, what Superman reveals to us, because we already have Batman in the DCU. If you haven't seen Creature Commandos, we know he's out there. We know some of the history behind him already. So it's very interesting what's going on here. So, yeah. Also, yeah, I mean, Matt Reeves, Batman versus Andy Muschietti, Flash director.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't.
What is that? I'm gonna do Blade. Ooh, like the anticipation.
That's man, the and also it's mentioned in the comments too. I think Temple mentioned it. Like WB as an entity right now is messy. I mean, the game side of things, like what's happening over with, you know, the Wonder Woman game that just cannot, evidently was completely rebooted in the middle of development and now is years away. And that thing started as a home run premise. Hey, here's the team behind Shadow of Mordor and the Nemesis system, and here's Wonder Woman. Go make a game. Seemed like a no-brainer. I think like a
trailer had us hyped.
My God, that has been just like, you know, all the stuff that's coming out about that. And that was 3?
Cool.
Right? 2? At least
I don't
2,
even know.
If not 3. 2, if not 3 years ago, because it was announced, had all this fanfare, and then went radio silent. And then the reports earlier, actually this month, came out about like evidently it's had a complete retooling in the midst of everything. And now we're moving forward with that vision, and that's still years away. Then, of course, all the Suicide Squad, Arkhamverse mess that is, and now, yes, you know, we've had a good VR Arkham game, and evidently Rocksteady is now working on a single-player Arkham project again. And then, of course, what's brought up in the comments of the Flash game being canceled. So, a lot of mess. That's a mess. That's a messy mess. Oof.
All right. So I think we're going to maybe rearrange things a little bit because we got our esteemed manager and boss on here, and he's got to do some other stuff too. So why don't we bring him on before the break, and then we'll get to some other news after the break. Hey! We got to do a proper quick introduction. This is our boss and manager, but also my old buddy from the Screen Rant days, one of the original Screen Rant architects alongside me for many years. Mr. Ben Kendrick is with us.
Hello,
time. Is this your first time? Did we ever have you on the show?
So you guys had me back when I was with Screen Rant still, I think, because I remember recording in this tiny little booth in the Valnet like studio.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was like on the low kind of thing where I didn't tell him that I was coming on or anything like that. But it's been a long time, though. It has been a long time since I've been on.
Yeah. Sure. So me and Ben also have a secret podcast called Podcast X, which you can, if you can find it, you can find it. It's out there. But yeah, we talk about just, you know, we talk about all the things we talk about here in a more adult fashion, and just kind of also talk shop with our old buddy from Screen Rant, Rob Keyes, about, just the industry, memories, crazy factoids and stuff that, the three of us have as crazy shared memories. But today, we're all business. Ben's got a lot to do. He's now here kind of at Savage Ventures doing big things, getting this train in the new era of comic book on the track. Though you don't see him, he's behind the scenes making sure that we all, don't F this whole thing up every day and cracking that whip in his so nice way that he does. But he's here to do it old school today. It's crazy because I remember when we did the first Avenger podcast, I think it was at Comic-Con, we did like one of those things in the townhouse at Comic-Con. So we've come a long way, man. I remember Winter Soldier, all this. So it's good to have you back for this one.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. Janelle, hi. Matt, hi.
Hello. I'm so happy you're here. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Yeah.
I saw Rob at Royal Rumble. So we meant to take a picture together to send the Kofi. I'll be like, hey, we had a little reunion over here. We didn't take any
pictures when I was in Nashville to like kind of rub and
rub. Oh, that's right. We didn't either, man. We're all slipping. We got to get on this.
That's it.
Making memories. I was telling them, my Valentine's Day is already going down in flames. I had to pull up my son. He puked all over himself as soon as he got to school, and so back home again, second week of this. So I hope yours is going to go better, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
Nashville, so he's okay.
Yeah, you're not in the disease-ridden hell zone of Nashville. So anyway, let's talk. You got your time is precious. Let's get you out of here. Let's talk about Captain America: Brave New World. So you actually got a preview screening of this, and you're in the Denver area, which is special because Marvel, for the first time ever, did not really screen this in some of these secondary markets like Nashville. We got no press screening for this. So I had to go out yesterday, and my theater was empty enough that I could live update Ben, an old tradition of ours and Rob's. So I was live updating Ben from my screening of Captain America: Brave New World, so he could keep me honest about this. But I think I tweeted it, and I'll just say it here. For me, I didn't say my star rating in my original tweet, and I should have. But for me, this was about a solid 3 out of 5 stars. I have some larger things to write about this when I get off of this podcast, but this is very much the last, to me, breath of that misguided era of Marvel content making. And this one is the one that they thought was important enough that they really worked hard to try to save and salvage as much as they could. But if you're any kind of discerning film watcher, like, you can see the seams in this pretty obviously. I was just cracking up. There's an entire scene between Anthony Mackie and Giancarlo Esposito where they're having like a almost like Batman Joker kind of interrogation scene. And the backdrop of it is like as if you and I were taking a Zoom meeting with an artificial backdrop of a military base. And it was just so funny.
There's like one guy like pacing back and forth.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Like one guy, he gets like stuck. He's like, and then and this is a deep cut thing, but like as a black man, I was watching Anthony Mackie's face, and I could just see around his hairline, like the digital stitching, like up around his hairline. And I was like, this is crazy, like how bad this looked. And so you can see that, and that entire scene is just something that is spliced. And I think I texted Ben at the beginning, and I was like, this may be one of the worst directed Marvel movies I've seen since like I think Thor 2, I think I said, or something. Yeah. And it got better because I don't think I said it. I don't think I kept saying that after that. But like that opening sequence, you also can tell like, okay, they stitched this, they did this, and then threw it together because they looked at the movie and they were like, oh, right, Falcon never really actually physically fights anybody per se in this film. So we should probably add a scene or two of that. But they really didn't need to do that because it don't look great. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, you don't want to expose the weaknesses of this. Like, you should have just had him aerial combat with a shield Falcon. Awesome. Trying to get Sam Wilson on the ground to do like John Wick stuff. Not so hot. Like, you shouldn't have spliced that in and paid more money for that. And so the whole film is like this, but like there are stitches of it that are like really good. Like there's some compelling things. There's 3 compelling stories here. There's a compelling Cap reboot about Sam Wilson in the undercurrent of him being a black man trying to become Captain America, Isaiah Bradley and the history of that and the anxieties of that and like what that's all about. there's a really good Red Hulk origin movie here that Harrison Ford basically walks away with. That's all about President Ross, you know, the shady things he's done, and like, you know, this literal monster he's always had inside of him finally bursting out, and what that's in this tragic thing of him trying to be better but going down in flames. And there's an Incredible Hulk sequel in here that's like all about that, and like tying up all the loose ends of Incredible Hulk with the leader and all that, and like all these callbacks and stuff, and it all feels stitched together. And so it's an okay movie, and that's where we're at. It's I know we have a ranking article out, but I would put this as the fourth of the Captain America movies. Like, I think First Avenger is way better than this in terms of just having a cohesive story and arc to it and all of this. Anthony Mackie's good. He's solid, but like he's basically the straight man in a movie that he's just like guy in audience fill-in everyman, and not as much personality as Anthony Mackie obviously naturally has in a lot of other things. So other people in this movie are great though. Like Danny Ramirez, great. You know, Tim Blake Nelson, great. You know, Harrison Ford steals show. So, like I said, it's kind of a confusing thing, but I think on the positive note, this is the last exhaustive breath of this era where we had Marvel pump out too many ideas, half-formed, not the right creators necessarily, and not the right ideas. So, yay. Ben?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, yeah, you hit a lot of the points that I would say. I think there are things that I went in with incredibly low expectations, to be totally honest. And that's partially because of the fact it wasn't screened for you guys. And also, like, when Chris did the interviews for this, he only got to see 25 minutes of the movie. So, I mean, we tend to read between the lines with stuff like that after doing this for 15 years, that if they were very confident in it, it would be screening everywhere and they would be, you know, letting everybody see it. And so I went in with really low expectations and kind of walked away like, oh yeah, I actually enjoyed that. I thought it was fun enough and it was rewarding enough to see Mackie sort of grappling with the mantle of Captain America and what that means both for him kind of as an actor, for this character within the MCU, and then also the character itself, like, you know, in the story. I thought that stuff worked well enough. And I mean, Ford is operating in a completely different level than a lot of people usually are in MCU movies. And he has to do some goofy stuff in this movie too. Like, there's a scene where he's like trying to hold back becoming Red Hulk, even though he doesn't really know what's happening. He's like squeezing these pipes that are clearly like felt pipes or something, or like plastic pipes that he's able to squeeze, and it looks like rubber and stuff. And I mean, I think he adds a lot of gravity to it, and what they do with some of the Incredible Hulk kind of leftovers there actually works really well in sort of grounding his story and making it as emotional as it can be. But for the movie's kind of attempt to define itself as sort of a, you know, like a successor to Chris Evans' Captain America, it still feels a little bit like an off-brand Captain America movie. It's like all the stuff you loved in Winter Soldier. There's sort of like spy intrigue and kind of a nefarious sort of like secret plot with like twists and turns as a sort of political thriller, but it's like not as good as that one ultimately, like in terms of those twists and turns. The outcome of something like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, was Hydra like emerging, right? And like that whole thing. And like that doesn't like really like what happens here in terms of moving the MCU forward isn't as big as that. And so it kind of feels like everything is dialed back like maybe like 10 or 15% from like the best Captain America movies. But I'd still put this maybe more towards the middle of my MCU rankings, even though it's probably overall at the bottom of my Cap rankings. Because I mean, this is not Quantumania, this is not Multiverse of Madness. Like at the end of the day, this does move the story forward in a compelling way with character drama that is clearly trying to operate on a level beyond just goofy shtick and, you know, sort of one note, I don't know, kind of like problems that characters have to solve. Like it's trying to say something important. I think it gets there some of the time. And then at the end of the day, by the time we get to Red Hulk and the Top Gun flight sequence, like I was just kind of in, because that stuff was done well enough and better than I thought it was going to be.
Not me. I think this footage we're seeing of the naval battle, that's where I was like, oh.
That's where you peeled off?
No, but that entire sequence is to me added. That was something.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, they saw this. I think they had it from point A investigation to Red Hulking. Yeah. And that was all we had in the movie. And that was it. So there was one fight at the end, and it was a long investigation, political thriller, mystery. But then they realized, like, this is so obvious. Everybody knows, because you even joked to me, like, don't be confused by the shadowy figure. Like, you know, the movie.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, we all know it's the leader. Yeah. So it's not really a mystery. So they're investigating a thing that's not really a mystery to the audience. Yeah. And there's no action along the way until one big fight at the end. And so they added this thing at the beginning with Sidewinder, because that entire sequence at the beginning is him versus Sidewinder in the Serpent Society, which they cut because it was too silly.
Goofy. Yeah.
And then, and then in the end of the second act, and it's like the Marvel movie blueprint, right?
Yeah.
First act, action scene. End of second act, action scene. See, big action sequence with this naval battle, but all of that is added. It is just shoehorned in, and you just can feel that from the moment it starts. There's this weird contrivance that puts the characters all on this weird naval thing at this location. And they have this crazy battle that's kind of supposed to be high stakes, but not really. And then, like, it's all over. And you have that crazy scene with Harrison Ford in the middle of it, with a kind of almost Hulk out. But like, this is the part where I was like, okay. And like every scene with Giancarlo Esposito is obviously just stitched in. Like, if you know anything about filmmaking, because he shows up, I think he attacks like twice in this. And the second time it's just like randomly on the street. He's just there. And you're like, what is happening? He's just like, he pops out. He's like K-Dot. He just pops out and he just starts shooting. Yeah. I mean, it's literally like that. Anthony Mackie's in a truck just driving, completely civilian clothes. No, like they didn't have the budget for like more Falcon stuff. So he's just in his truck, GMC, and then in traffic, and Sidewinder just pops out and just and like blows up the truck. And then they have a physical street fight between the two just two guys in like clothes and a gun, and that's it.
He's literally on the phone with Falcon, like talking. It's almost like they were like, how do we tether all this together? And he's like, okay, well, we'll get him on the phone talking about what just happened. And then Sidewinder will
there we go. Boom. Like,
it's so weird.
Yeah. So these things are just stitched together, and you can see all the seams. So, I think we're saying the same thing. Like, it's like an okay movie. An okay MCU movie, still has that kind of Disney Plus feel to it, because that's what happened here. Let's be clear. That's what happened here. When they did all this content push, everything feels the same, like a Disney Plus level kind of accomplishment and storytelling that doesn't really have epic stakes or move things too much forward. And that's what happened here. We flooded the zone too much, and now we have to pull back and do better and bigger. And you can now have that. I've seen this film, and just seeing the Thunderbolts trailer, like, it's crazy what the difference is between these two eras and how much you can see it in just the two products. So looking forward to Daredevil Born Again, because that's the start of getting back to it, I think. And so
I would like still tell people to go see that. I feel like there have been some MCU movies lately that I got, like, I don't know, people like clap back at me on Twitter and Blue Sky about saying that, like, after a string of disappointments in the MCU, which I know there was Deadpool and Wolverine and, a few other things that people responded to, but I think it's hard to look back at Quantumania, Multiverse of Madness, the Marvels and stuff, and say, like, those weren't disappointments, at least in terms of how they were received. And, like, I do feel like this gets things back on track a bit. Like you said, this was a pivot point and they tried to kind of save it, whereas the other ones were sort of like all in on that era. This one starts to course correct. And it does feel like if you're going to go into Secret Wars or you're going to go into Doomsday, like, this feels like the one you probably need to have seen a little bit too, because they do start kind of setting up, like, Sam is sort of being tasked towards the beginning of this, like, we don't really know where it stands at the end fully, but like with potentially like reassembling the Avengers and stuff like that. And so it's like, it feels like they're starting to try and get it back on track. And I would envision that some of this will matter down the line and people will wish that they were that they had invested in these characters a little bit and understanding the transition between the eras. But
yeah, and the parts of this segment that are just longer segments of an actual movie they had are really good.
Yeah.
Like that White House scene is really good.
Yeah, really
that
good.
whole thing with Isaiah Bradley and that's like edge of your seat, like old school. You're like, oh, like things are happening, and that whole action sequence is really good. And the Red Hulk fight is worth it. Like at the end, that is also really good. Yeah. So
I was really skeptical about that Red Hulk fight, and it delivered to the most.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. Like they went back and put the money in.
Yeah.
Ford looks great as Red Hulk. It doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's like it's actual fight, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the actual dynamics of the fight, like make sense. All of that, it works. So I would say, yeah, and I would say go support this because it's Black History Month, so go support it. And it's not bad. Like it's actually an okay movie. It's just we have high standards, and I'm going to write a piece about this. I love the MCU still, and I just want to see it be better. And that's how I feel. All right. Thanks, Ben. I'll let you get back to it. Enjoy having you, Benny boy. Oh, my God.
I know. Yeah. At Ben Kendrick on all the things. But yeah, no, I mean, it's awesome. We've said it before. It's been like a real pleasure to just get to like be part of this community now and come in after Screen Rant and sort of do some stuff with you guys and reconnect with Kofi. And I mean, Janelle and I got to like hang out when I was in Nashville, and Matt, one of these days, you and I, maybe Comic-Con or something, we'll get to have a beer together or something. But yeah, you guys keep doing your thing. I'll bounce out, but thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the end of the Red Hulk fight. Yeah, when he's done hulking out and it's just half naked Harrison Ford in a CGI cherry blossom lane, like we don't have to talk about that.
Peekaboo.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, we're gonna take a break real quick, and then we're gonna come back and get into the second half of our show. We're gonna run through a couple geeky things real quick, and then it's back to Matt's agenda. All right, Matt, I saved this one for you. There's been some big movement real quick. We don't have to do the Hunger Games thing. Hey, we're going to be seeing that Hunger Games Hey Mitch prequel. There, I did it. But the other one, we got a lot. It's about another big project coming our way.
Man, I cannot believe that Masters of the Universe is actually happening. This has been that project has been in like development hell for for the past like 5-6 years.
5 or 6. I swear to God, I have been reporting on this in different forms since I started in this industry. It's been a decade and a half of this. Oh my God.
It's been crazy. Also, I saw it in the comments from before. It has been 4 years since Wonder Woman. It'll be 4 years in like a month or something, in 2 months. That's
the
crazy.
Wonder Woman video game trailer.
The Wonder Woman video game was 4 years ago, pretty soon. So between that, but Masters of the Universe has it beat because this movie already had one previous iteration canceled, and then people were like, okay, kind of gave up on it. I mean, that one even they had started to cast. We had a He-Man, and then that one just died. So we were like, okay, well, and then it was like, but we're back, and this is a different one, but this cast is stacked, and now it's actually filming. I'm still kind of in disbelief. I will probably be in disbelief until this thing actually hits a theater screen, but like this cast is insane. number one. And now we actually have a look at our Prince Adam. The whole premise of this movie. And by the way, these are set photos, so of course we can't show them here. But you can find them if you go out and about. You can actually find things from the London set that are being filmed right now. Also in London. But it's the fact that like there's a part of the story that's been teased in the synopsis and things about like essentially Prince Adam is separated from the sword. And has to find it like in our world. And so there's this like period of time where he's hunting for it and things. And some of the stuff that started to make it out is like those scenes of like him actually finding the sword and things. So we're getting like a little bit of that real life split. And then we have yet to see kind of all the craziness of what's happening in Grayskull, what's happening with all of the characters from He-Man, all of the fantastical stuff. But we are seeing like the sword and things in real life. And the fact that this is obviously the report was kind of like, hey, this is filming soon. Hey, this is filming now. And we're actually starting to get movement on this thing. We might even get a 2026 release date. So it's kind of insane. I'm still a little shocked that this is actually happening, but I am very excited. I'm very happy. I'm a Motu fan. I've loved we're actually seeing the animated stuff that Kevin Smith's been a part of for Netflix. That stuff's been killer. I've loved that stuff. So it's actually been, and the figures are doing well. So like, it's kind of been a low key good spot of years for Masters of the Universe, despite not being able to get a live action film off the ground.
Okay, it's happening. It's really happening, people. It's happening.
We need Michael Scott meme.
Yeah, I was about to say, there we go. All right, so that's that, and I think that's it for news. We did this. Did you guys get a chance to see the Gorge? I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night, so I actually started it, and I didn't mean to stay up that late. And anybody else?
Oh, no.
Digging this.
The Gorge. Let's talk about the Gorge. All right, so The Gorge is the new movie on Apple TV Plus from Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson, which is the main reason why I wanted to check it out. So Scott Derrickson, former Doctor Strange director of Sinister, is back with his latest, which is, for Apple TV Plus. And I was strangely into this movie. I was like, oh man,
what you did there.
I didn't expect to. But it's about Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy play an American elite sniper and a Russian elite sniper who are assigned to these two towers on the either side of this big chasm where they are doing a year-long kind of mission each to watch this gorge. And, they find out like there's crazy stuff that's going to come out of this. And they quickly find out, oh yeah, there's a bunch of monsters down there and they have to like watch over this gorge. But it's actually a character story about each of them and like where they come from and like, how they ended up here. And they start this kind of long distance, quite literal long distance relationship, kind of doing the Dawn of the Dead thing with binoculars and signs and getting to know each other and stuff like that. And of course the story's about what happens when they decide to finally kind of make contact and how that can compromise their mission. But things go sideways, and Scott Derrickson is one of those directors. He is really good at like horror and just kind of scary stuff, because this goes from like almost like a romantic spy thing to nightmare fuel really quickly. And that's why in the middle I was like, oh man, I really like messed up staying up to watch this right about now, because there are some pretty nightmare fuel things that happen in this movie. So I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was, and just how well Scott Derrickson is still making movies and telling stories and getting you to care about characters. And, Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy are surprisingly charismatic together. Like they have good chemistry together. It's almost like a very cute romance movie and a horror thing and a spy thing. So weird combination, but it works. So I would actually say go check out The Gorge if you can't make it out to see Captain America and you're at home on Valentine's Day. This is weirdly like a mix of romance and horror that is it works. Matt?
Yeah, those moments from the trailer where it's like Love Actually, you know what I mean? Like it's You've seen it. It's great. But then look, I remember, okay, I was given so much crap when back when Scott Derrickson, kind of parted ways with Marvel and wasn't going to do the Doctor Strange movie, the sequel. And then it was Sam Raimi's in. I got so much grief for going, man, we were robbed of a great Doctor Strange sequel before the movie was released. And everyone was like, well, I remember key quotes and comments of, what are you expecting from a Derrickson sequel that you wouldn't get from a Raimi sequel? And then, hey, we got Multiverse Madness and we've seen what the difference is. I was so excited for what Derrickson was going to do now that the table was set.
Same.
And Nightmare, all those things that were kind of on the table for that.
Yeah.
And movies like this and Sinister are the reasons, right? It can turn on a dime. And that is, and it's a different level of horror and it's a different vibe. I get it. But like, I watch stuff like this and it just reminds me, like, we were robbed of the sequel that I wanted for Doctor Strange. This movie has, like, to me, no business working because of the things you're talking about, because of there's moments in this movie where, like, I'm just invested in these two snipers. I'm just invested in them and getting to know each other, and you almost lose sight of, and it's in the trailer, so I feel like I can spoil certain things of things they tease in the trailer of, like, essentially, like, this is like the entrance to hell. Right. And so you're like, okay, they tease that in the trailer, right? We learn other things as the movie.
Yeah, that's like a direct line of the thing. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like I'm not spoiling stuff, but like that, like, you almost lose sight of that. And then it just smacks you over the head, like, oh no, stakes are real. This is real stuff here. But you're so invested in them at that point. Like, I just thought this movie, I did not see this movie coming. I did not even hear about this movie until Kofi brought it up. No, and then I have an Apple TV Plus subscription because I did a trial.
I banged my head against the desk last night because this premiered and you could not find it anywhere, even if you opened Apple TV Plus. It's not on the Watch Now. It's not even when you go to movies. I had to dig through the content and search it out and then be like, yeah, it is here. I'm not crazy, and press play. And then I was like, yeah. And everybody comments like, oh, this looks good. I didn't even know this was available to me. Apple, get off your ass. You can put a phone up our face like every 6 months. Just tell people this movie's out. Like, it's a really good, solid movie. It's good. But it has no business working. But like, I think it's so smartly written because it builds this rapport between the two. And then when it gets stakes heavy, it's a lot of the dynamics of one having to help or go rescue the other, and then the other one having to do it, and then them kind of like getting closer each time they do this. It's just well written. Anyway, so that's available to you. It's, if you have Apple TV Plus, you can watch a pretty good movie at home this weekend. So you're welcome.
And if you don't want something scary, I started watching the Bridget Jones movie that just came out.
Yes, that is also out. Yeah.
Incredibly charming. And I talked a lot of junk about it, but it actually broke my heart in the first like 10 minutes. I'm like crying like hard. So it's very heartfelt and Bridget Jones. It's cute. So
I gotta watch that. Boom. I gotta check that out.
A lot of range of content this weekend, and we have an excellent article talking about Valentine's Day weekend in the traditional kind of way. It's also been a crazy eclectic box office or content kind of pool, and that happens. But we're going to keep it moving. I think we don't need to talk about Neighborhood Spider-Man all that much. It's good. Still good. Still enjoyable.
Still great.
Daredevil and Iron Man are in it this week in the episodes. Go check that out. Matt, you want to cook on some Witcher? And for the comments, yes. I talk very properly because I have 2 PhD professor parents, but I was raised in Philadelphia, and it's not like if I just let it go, like, I'll talk like that all the time. So,
man, also, is Bridget Jones fighting Hell Monsters 2? Boy, that would be a great movie. Can we cross that out?
Hell Monsters of relationship demons, yes.
Yeah, she's fighting her own demons.
Yes.
We got to say also, sorry to the comments. I thought this was like going to be a bare episode until I started going through it last night, and I was like, oh my God, there's too much. So yes, Invincible is still going on. Like, keeping up with all these shows on streaming right now, I hate. It's driving me nuts every week. But yes, Invincible's still cooking, and this was a good episode this week. I thought we had one of those fake out episodes where we started on like Mark and relationship stuff, and then it went to like Alan the alien and all that. So, and the return of Battle Beast. So Invincible cooking. People were happy with Battle Beast. Sorry, Matt. Now, Witcher.
Yes. So on Tuesday, Netflix dropped Witcher: Sirens of the Deep. This is the new anime film. They've done one previous film that focused on Vesemir, which you should also check out because that's fantastic. Rich, can we get the trailer popped up? Sorry, I got a little delay. And so that one was great, but that one was taking place in the past. For Sirens of the Deep, this is a kind of, for the first time, really bringing all of the Witcher worlds together. This is a animated project. It is set between episodes of the first season of The Witcher show from Netflix, and it also features the original voice of Geralt from The Witcher games in the lead role. So it is literally like everything together in this one. And not only is it taking place between those episodes, that means it's also canon to those, right? But you have Dave Cockle reprising his Geralt role, and it is like, it takes you back instantly to Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Just hearing the voice and everything, it's just iconic at this point. But he's also playing off of the cast from the show. So Joey Beatty is Jaskier, Anya Shalhotra is Yennefer, right? And their voices are in here. So it's this really kind of surreal mix of worlds. And of course, they're bringing in new characters to the actual show, because like Essie from the books has not made her live action debut. So this is like her debut here. And so you're getting new characters from iconic stories in the mix as well. This starts off with a killer fight sequence, and there's several in this. Like the animation is just like, I just loved it. It's top tier. Geralt looks like a freaking menace, doing, they really kind of lean into like the flow of combat and everything. You still get bloody stuff that happens, brutal moments that kind of shock you, but there's like, it's really enjoyable for just if you enjoy the banter between Jaskier and Geralt in the show or in the games, you're going to absolutely adore it here. Like they are front and center of this throughout the entire movie. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. I could not recommend this more. It's just, again, there's no like seismic level reveals or anything for the future of the franchise and all that. This is just a great Witcher story based on a really great Witcher story from the books, and you're getting the best parts of like the show and animation all in one. I really dug it. It's great. So could not recommend that more, and it's on Netflix. So it's
shout out to the comments,
obviously.
Shout out to the comments. We're not checking our phones. We do work during this. I am getting messages. Like I actually do have like actual active things. My shift starts when this show starts, and I after an hour or so, I do get certain things I have to respond to. So we are not disrespecting Matt. We are actually real people, and I promise you, when we're just cooking on something, Matt has things to check as well. So if not live human beings,
thank you, Temple, for defending my honor. It means the world. Also, peekaboo.
Oh my god. Well, let's talk comments so we can clear Janelle. Let's talk comments.
Yeah, I'm watching a baby monitor, so F off.
Yeah.
Don't come at me, bro. Don't come. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
Don't come at me.
Yeah. We're just doing real stuff. We're not checking our socials. You know what I mean? One World Under Doom. So this I actually found to be really good. I actually found this to be really good, compelling. Dr. Doom is always an interesting character, if done right. If done badly, he's just cheesy and arch. But this one actually had me put in an article like, the Magneto thing was Doom right. Like this whole thing is scary in how good they're doing this play on how easily you can be convinced of authoritarian rule, which is, maybe timely. I don't know, but it was very well done here. I thought R.B. Silva's artwork was incredible. And yeah, just a laying out a good way of what can make Doom so dangerous. Like that thing that even gets into your head by the end, like Doom is wisdom, Doom is power, like, and only Doom can save us. Like, and the irony of that. I just like the writing of this. It's so well done. Like the irony of having all these people say the word doom as if it's this salvation. And the heroes being confounded about how to counter this it's much more interesting than I ever thought it would be. And so, I didn't think Marvel was cooking, or I was kind of getting worried about Marvel cooking like DC's cooking in their books, but this is an interesting start to something. So yeah.
Janelle?
Yeah, this is cool. I really like the way that they kind of set it up, and Black Widow's kind of on her own, and where it's mysterious and we don't quite understand what's going on. And then their big reveal doesn't end up being such a big reveal because everybody is like on Team Doom now, and it's just it's definitely a cliffhanger. It leaves you off going, what's next? Like, what are they going to do? How are they going to convince the world that Doom sucks? Because he seems to be really saving babies and moms and stuff.
I think that's the thing that surprised me most, because I'm with Kofi on the fact that like I slept on this one a little bit, mostly because I haven't. There's parts of the Avengers books I really like, but they don't really have a lot to do with like the Doom side of things, even though they had this whole kind of prologue thing that they did in that series and to set this up, and then you've kind of seen the seeds everywhere else. But like the whole Doom becoming Sorcerer Supreme thing was a great twist within Blood.
Oh yeah, Blood Hunt.
Wasn't like but it wasn't something that like excited me for like what the crossover was that I knew was coming, the event that I knew was coming. I wasn't really like on board with that, and I was just like, okay, like we've seen this, right? Dark Reign is like one of my favorite storyline eras of Marvel in the past, but like we're gonna get kind of another version of that, right? Like we've seen that. And so I kind of slept on this, and I wasn't super excited coming into this. And then what they smartly do, I feel like in the first like 5 pages, is get you on the fence of like, he's actually doing some good things here, right? They like, hey, we're actually gonna have universal health care. Hey, we're gonna no countries can war with each other because now you're all under my umbrella. So like, we're not gonna have cities, provinces warring with each other. And if you do, like, you're done, right? So like, that's a like you can
exactly
where
they do
it, right?
Great job. Who wrote this?
I'm blanking right now. I don't remember.
Yeah, so am I. But no, they do a great job of making
Ryan North.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. Ryan North. All right, yeah, Ryan North's good at this kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, just the seduction of that and what this book does to just get you to just open up to the idea of how people can be seduced by authoritarianism, and it's always sad when comics can predict, because they have to produce these ahead of time, how comics can predict where we're going to be in the timeline by the time it comes out. But like there's nothing that could be more on point right now than what this book is kind of doing, because we've basically seen a guy show up on a Tyrannosaurus and say he's there to save a baby in the last couple of months, and it's pretty nuts. But you can but it's opening you up to not say this is automatically bad, but to understand a little bit more how people can be seduced by this, which I think is an important thing to consider.
Yeah,
and so
I think it gets you, as in the comments, like I obviously it's not correct, right? It's an authoritarian like takeover here in view of that, right? So obviously it's not correct in the process execution of all those things, and we see he does some pretty gnarly stuff here throughout as the book goes on. But it always does, as Kofi was saying, kind of get you in the frame of mind of understanding how people can side with it, whether you agree with it or not. You understand the appeal of, hey, we're bringing worldwide peace. Hey, we're going to make sure everyone's fed. Hey, we're going to make sure that we take care of you financially. The whole thing with education that he brings in there, right? Of like, everyone's going to have, like, we're taking education away from just the rich and wealthy, and everyone can have that top tier. Like, you understand why people by the end are like, nah, I kind of like this. It makes that more complicated and gray. And so whether obviously you're still like Doom's a villain, Doom's a straight up villain, right? It's not like you're rooting against the Avengers anymore, but you still understand how that can appeal. You get it. And I think that was really smartly done.
Yeah, and obviously we all know the comeuppance is coming. Like, eventually we're gonna see, Doom is a dude behind a mask for a reason. Like, it's a metaphor if you have never figured it out, because in his face, his real face is horribly scarred, and so he's a monster. And behind closed doors, like most monarch, emperors, he's going to be doing some crazy things to anybody who doesn't agree with him. So yeah, we know that part's coming, but this first issue I thought was really well done. Let's talk about Janelle. Why don't you launch us into the next book? Because you felt some kind of way about this one.
Wait, did
Oh, you
I?
did?
Oh, yeah, I did. Oh my God. I tried to read this to go to sleep last night
Oh,
or
I'm
2
sorry.
nights ago.
This was
Absolute
your Gorge.
Batman. Yeah, and usually I'm really chill while reading a comic, but the speech that we got about being like pigs and like our government using us and just all this stuff, I was like, oh God, I don't know if I can hit this. It's hitting too hard. It's too close to reality. Like, this is hurting me. It's freaking me out. Now my brain is like going in circles of like, oh my gosh, we're all screwed. The whole thing is like, we're just completely being taken advantage of, used, and screwed over. So why not just like live it up and like do whatever you want? And I'm like, oh my God, like this is really heavy. It's wild because that is like the one thing I took away, because it took me out of my kind of fantasy bubble of reading a comic, which is good. It's really good, but like, oh no, not great before you go to sleep.
So, for context to the listening audience, we're talking about DC's Absolute Batman number 5, in which this new Batman goes up against Black Mask, who turns out to be just as terrifying in this alternate universe for very different reasons, just because of his kind of nihilistic, opportunistic, capitalistic kind of predatory nature. I was a little disappointed in this issue. For the first time, I was disappointed in Absolute Batman, actually.
Wow.
Because I felt that the most intriguing thing of issue 4, and I spoke about it, was Batman in this alternate universe being this guy who was willing to compromise or get himself morally dirty to achieve a bigger end, and exploring what that is. This issue made it a fake out. It's like, nope, I'm still Batman. I don't bend, and I'm still going to try to lure you out and then try to kick your butt and punch you to death, punch you unconscious, but I'm not working with the bad guys. But that idea of him considering that for a Batman who's already hanging out with his rogues gallery in this universe and has had this different experience, that was more intriguing to me. And it's like, okay, it's Scott Snyder, so we're always going to have the core essence of Batman being this unyielding, unbending, scary sense of justice coming for criminals. Like, I get it, but I was like, that's less interesting to me where we could have explored. But that's me kind of putting out my own story. You always got to be on here and just kind of like keep yourself. You can't do that. You can't put your own bias on the story. Sorry. I have to look at my phone sometimes because we're getting breaking news. So we might be doing a big swing here when Janelle gets out. Might have a special guest on. But yeah, I still think it's still an awesome world that we're in with this Batman. And, where this issue ends was very intriguing and still kind of nightmare fuel. So we've really been taking care of ourselves.
Man,
Yeah,
the
I know, right?
absolutes are so good.
The theme. These were okay. To be fair, to also Janelle, like these were 2 hard ones, like back.
I've been watching.
These were like 2 heavy, real world, like just jumping into the muck of it all. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so I dug this issue a lot, but I dug this issue because this is really Batman's first loss. We haven't seen him lose in Absolute Batman yet. Like he's been able to outthink, outmaneuver, and just brute force, like go in and take people down, right? He's been the one delivering the fear. And so I thought they did, and we actually have a great article on the site about how, like, I want to see this Black Mask on screen. I want to see this.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think that's a good call out. I think I put it in the wrong cover.
I
put it in the
didn't
wrong
even
cover.
notice. Yeah,
Wrong
that is
cover.
the
That's
cover.
issue 3. Sorry. I did this at like 2 a.m. last night, and I was watching the Gorge.
Still looks cool.
I thought because of this issue made me think of it, because he's just like impaling fools.
Yeah, I know. This is like a fantastic version of Black Mask, menacing, and really leaning into, the societal constructs and just taking advantage of just, in some ways, people's apathy, people's need, right? All of that struggle for survival, all that stuff. But this is really Batman's first loss. Like, even the big card at the end of, like Batman's, he's like, are you smiling? And he like, what would typically be the big turning moment, and you would have things switch up in the story and Batman would have like a victory, is like not a victory. And then things leave on an even worse note, as after that. So, like, I just think they've really, in a relatively short time, because most of the emphasis in this series has been on Batman and his supporting characters, not the villain. And so, I mean, if you think about it, like, we haven't even had a follow-up to the Joker tease since that happened. Black Mask has been very much in the background, and you've seen mostly his thugs and stuff. So we really actually haven't had a lot of time with him. And the fact that you're getting, like, that this works so well is a credit to Snyder, and Nick Dragotta's art is just phenomenal. Frank Martin's coloring too. Like, this book looks amazing. It continues to look amazing. So yeah, great series, man. I haven't been let down by an absolute issue yet, but I will say that last issue of Superman had me struggling for other reasons that we talked about. I'm curious where this one goes from here. So we're at pivot points for all of them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Big, if you're listening, we have another guest has entered the chat.
And I'm going to leave it to y'all. I'm going to be watching it from beyond.
Janelle,
Hey,
okay.
The champ is here.
Things I wasn't planning on swinging by, but the universe has changed things. Things are happening in anime land. Probably one of the biggest pieces of news that has happened since the tragic passing of Akira Toriyama in the Dragon Ball universe has happened. I had to share it because it literally just happened. Okay, if you are watching Dragon Ball Daima right now, I know Matt, you watched, I believe, Dragon Ball Superhero, so you're a little bit familiar with the Dragon. I know Kofi, you're a Dragon Ball head, much like me.
oh yeah,
Dragon Ball Daima has made some changes. It has introduced some things that we never thought we would see, such as Vegeta in a Super Saiyan 3 form. But everyone, I am here to tell you that today's episode of Dragon Ball Daima, episode 18, titled Awakening, has done what many people thought would never happen in our lifetimes, and is an ode and a testament to Akira Toriyama himself, that he was able to give this to us in a post-mortem series that he worked on. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Saiyan 4 is now canon. It is officially, it is
done.
It is here. Goku has gone Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Daima. It looks different from Dragon Ball GT. He uses it as a kid. It kind of looks like a mix between Super Saiyan God and the original Super Saiyan 4. It is our producer Rich, who is also a giant Dragon Ball guy, just pinged me with what? Yes, it is real. Super Saiyan 4 is here. There are only 2 episodes left of Dragon Ball Daima. This is earth-shattering news. I had to share it with everybody. I know that if you're not familiar with Dragon Ball, you're not familiar with Super Saiyan 4, obviously, this might come as like, what is he talking about? This is something that anime fans have been waiting for since the arrival of Dragon Ball GT in the late 1990s, people. We've been waiting for decades to see this happen. This is
wild.
It is crazy. It just kind of shows that Daima is willing to do anything and everything when it comes to it is officially the spiritual successor to Dragon Ball GT. It has done what many people did not see coming. Questions, concerns from people, from our other, from Kofi, from Matt.
Not me. I mean, it's weird to see Kid Goku with like the strong pecs. You know, that's a weird sight visual, but you know that it'll be applicable to adulthood because this is now canon, and you know this is kind of filling in a place where we are before Super, right? In this.
Yes,
during?
This takes place before Super, and I'm still parsing out all of the information in terms of like how this happens. But there's an elderly Namekian named Neva who has been a part of the story, who apparently helps Goku kind of achieve this new form. He gets his tail back. He once again taps into the power of the Ozaru. I think Kofi, you had shared an image. I think it's totally fine if we want to put that up. We totally can, so everybody can kind of see what this looks like. This is why they do not mention as to why we never see this form in Dragon Ball Super, why he doesn't use it. I think it might have something to do with the fact that this is something that was made by the old Namekian, or just the fact that it happens in the demon realm itself. We'll see. There's actually only 2 episodes left. There's still the possibility that they could still have some fusions in there. They haven't eaten those bugs that fuses characters together. Matt, this must seem very confusing.
Yeah, Matt's now Matt's checking his phone. Now Matt's catching up on his phone. Yeah.
This is what it must feel like when I ramble off about wrestling.
There we go.
Yep.
There it is. There's
Super
Goku.
Saiyan 4 Goku official canon, baby.
That's canon. That is real. It's real. That is not fan art.
Pray for
it's
times
not
like
deviant
this.
art. We have used to pray for times like this. We never
Is
thought
the
we
tail
would see
normal?
It. No. So actually, the tail, for those who don't know, the tail is a part of the Saiyan race. That's what Goku's alien race is. And he lost it when he was a kid because it allows him to transform into a giant ape, which causes a lot of problems. But in the original Dragon Ball GT, the tail helped him achieve this transformation. He is able to get it once again, thanks to the Namekian known as Neva in the demon realm, that gives him this new form. And man, it is something that fans have been waiting for quite some time. So I'm here for it. I hope everyone else is.
All right. Thank you, Evan. You got we are running over time, but do you have a real quick take on Captain America? Because we tried to get you in here, but you were busy doing this dragon.
Yeah,
thing,
I was doing that.
Yeah,
I didn't see how everybody reviewed it.
We were at a solid 3.
A 3. That's it exactly. That is exactly. I might ask me on any given day, and I might lean more towards a 3.5 or more towards a 2.5. But I recognize the faults that it has, the flaws that it has, while also thinking there's a lot of stuff that I really loved. I think Anthony Mackie was great as Cap. He really earned the stars and stripes in the movie. Harrison Ford was killing it. I thought I would love to see an Isaiah Bradley movie in terms of between the present and the past. I've wanted a truth movie for quite some time.
Oh man.
Ever since they never do it. But
they should do it as a special presentation. It would be a good one.
Yeah, I think if they did that on Disney Plus or something. But again, I totally recognize the faults that the movie had in terms of Giancarlo Esposito kind of feels wasted. I would have loved to have seen what Seth Rollins' character was in terms of, but I feel like they were moving the reshoots and everything were kind of moving away from some of the more what I thought goofier aspects and kind of recutting it and everything. I think that this kind of felt like one of the more middle of the road early MCU movies. It wasn't in my review for the site. I wrote that it felt like it was a spiritual successor to the Winter Soldier in terms of its themes, but it wasn't anywhere near that level and everything. So, all
right, well, there we go. So we're all kind of in agreement. Matt, you got about a minute or two to get off your agenda.
Yeah. All right. So I'll start by mentioning at Sony's State of Play, they announced that there's going to be a Days Gone. remaster for PS5. I've never played Days Gone, but I've always been curious and always seen a bunch of clips online. And now with the remaster coming for PS5, I will probably jump in. I think it hits in April or something. It's pretty soon. So this is the one I've been waiting for. A game I have played is moving over to the tabletop side of things. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. BioWare, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age are both my jam, but Mass Effect I adore. And Modifius actually released a board game that is Priority Hagalaz is the name of it, and it is a cooperative game taking place within the first Mass Effect game. You're going to be controlling Liara and oh my god, Rex, Tally. There's Garrus, and then of course you can actually choose from like male shepherd or femme shep if you want. You can have either one in the game, which by the way, kudos for that. It's great. And you're guiding them through various missions. There's a whole campaign system where you can branch on different paths. They bring loyalty missions in, so you can take 2 loyalty missions per campaign. You can't take them all, so you have to kind of choose, and those unlock special abilities for your characters. So you have to kind of, it's going to be different every time. You can't get all of the abilities in one go. And then also the characters feel supremely different. Rex is every bit the tank that you expect him to be. Tally has the drone and everything. That they do a really good job of like highlighting all of the characters that you know. And there's like story bits that you read before and after and during things happen in the game that'll be like, hey, you completed this objective, move over here. There's Paragon and Renegade. You can get the Paragon ending. You can get out. Your mission can end early if you do the Renegade typically, so it's quicker, but you don't get as many points that lead to things at the end of the campaign, right? So there's give and take. It's all of that Mass Effect goodness. One of the coolest systems though that you see in here is the dice system. So like you have 12 dice, and you actually are rolling them for every time a character takes a turn. You're rolling them all, but you are only taking 3 of them. So as the turn order goes, the person who's last only has like 3 dice to work with as opposed to all of the options. But then the next round, they get to go like the first turn order moves. So everyone gets to kind of have all of the dice available to them. And you have to make key decisions for the rest of your group because the options are going down each turn. So it's like really prioritizes tactics, but has all that great Mass Effect vibe. I just really thought they did a great job with this. So that's number one. The other one, completely different side of the spectrum here in Super Meow, which I played with my daughter who is 5. And we played this adorable cutesy game. It's like, you're essentially trying to form the Superman version of this cat, and you have to have a cape and you have to have the cat. And once the person like ends up with both of those cards at the same time, they've created Super Meow and you win the game, right? But
what?
Yeah, this is the version. Now, what you're seeing though, what I love about this is that it's like all the superhero stuff, but you're seeing the entire game in like a tiny box. Like the trash can that's there is part of the box. The other part is the flip over, like you're flipping over and that's where everything is. It's like really cute, really adorable. Also, it is like, it actually ranges like super young. So like if you've got younger kids and you want to introduce them to a fun game that like has some of those superhero aspects, this is one that you can absolutely do that. And you're also teaching them like deck building mechanics, price mechanics, the marketplace, all of that. Out now, super cute. If you've got kids, if you've got young kids that you're actually trying to kind of teach gameplay things that can translate to anything, this is a good one. So yeah, those are my 2. I did play another one that is like a complete different departure. It's called Couture. I was digging into my fashion side. It's like essentially trying to assemble all of these fashion collections, and you're trying to score points. And there's 3 different runways: New York, Paris, and Tokyo. And it's a bidding game. Like you're kind of bidding with all the other players to try and get the collection you want, but you might end up with the flop collection that's out there and not hitting with customers, right? It kind of plays on the whole of the fashion world. It's actually really stylistically, it's gorgeous, but it's a small game. I actually think it's pretty low priced overall, and it's something you can actually break out. If you've got a bunch of friends who are into the fashion world and want to give games a shot, I think this is actually fun. It's not something like, it doesn't hit the highs of others, So I probably put it at a solid like 3.5 for me. Mass Effect is like that sucker's a 5 out of 5. I really dug that. Super Meow's really fun. Again, more targeted at families, young kids. So for them, a 4. If you're, a bunch of adults playing it, you're going to get bored of that real quick. It's going to be like a 2 for you. So that has been your trip into the world of Matt's Agenda. I did pretty good. I feel like 4 things.
You did a
3-minute time.
Really good job at that. You did a really good job with that. That cat thing almost broke my brain, though. I was just listening. I think we all just got a dose of like being nerds, but also being out nerded in some way. Like everybody just went on a roller coaster. But that's why we are the only show that does it all for geek culture, because you're going to feel that way. By the end, you should feel somewhere in the middle, which is life. All right. That'll do it for our show. Thank you, Evan, for hopping on with that hot breaking Dragon Ball news. We have done it. Shout out to Akira Toriyama, R.I.P. Sensei Toriyama. The vision is complete. We did it. All those iconic things are now in canon, and it's good to know you completed that work before you departed and left us. So, yeah, we can breathe easy a little bit. So, thank you, everyone, for coming on early as always. Shout out to the comments. Shout out to Zach G, Distance Nerding Temple today. Kind of really showing up and showing out. Shout out to Temple, STYX boy, Ron Burrell, Damon, Brywood, our long times. I know our day ones I begin to forget after a while because I just think you guys are always here. And I'm like, I take it for granted. But shout out to Janelle Wheeler for being on. And everybody have a great Valentine's Day, whether you're single or with somebody. Just, self-love is love too, baby. Oh, that sounded so wrong. I did. Oh my God. I meant that in the most wholesome way.
You talk about nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about nothing. Let's get on out of here. We are Comic Book Nation. Peace. The Gorge.